Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin with chapter 6, verse 2. Chapter 6, verse 2. Hashem says to Moshe, Tzav Aaron v'eskonov le'mor, command Aaron and his sons, saying, Zos Toras ha'olah, these are the laws of the Olah offering. Hi ha'olah, it is the Olah, al mokdah mizbeach kol halayla, a bokir that gets placed on the altar through the night until morning. Ve'esh ha'mizbeach tukad bo, and the flame of the altar will be kindled on it. It really jumps out at you, the language of Hi ha'olah. It's very striking. This is the law of the Olah. It is the Olah. It's very, very redundant. So there's a Kli Yakar on this. Kli Yakar on Pasuk Tes. Let's see, I just have to tell you which Kli Yakar it is. I believe it's maybe the third Kli Yakar on the Pasuk. Begins with the word Zos Toras ha'olah, Hi ha'olah, al mokdah. Hi ha'olah miyusar l'gamri. The phrase "it is the Olah" is totally extra. V'skimu ha'mefarshim lomar shabolo dia shkol ha'osek b'toras Olah kihilu hikriv Olah. That the mefarshim explained that it's coming to teach an interesting idea that is frequently quoted, whether or not it comes exclusively from this pasuk, but it's frequently quoted by laws of korbanos in general, that a person who studies the laws of the Olah, it's as if they've brought the Olah. So this is the law of the Olah. It is the Olah. The Alzeh Omar Zos Toras Olah. This is the Torah of the Olah, meaning Ha'osek b'Toras Ha'olah, a person who deals with the laws of the Korban Olah. Hi Ha'olah. It is the Olah, meaning Zeu Tov K'mo Akravas Ha'olah Atzma. V'hi Karinan Hu Musav Al Sefer HaTorah. Ki Sefer Lashon Zachar VaTorah Lashon Nekeva. Kenemar Hi Ha'olah v'Karinan Hu Ha'olah v'Karinan Hi. Fine. So his first pshat is that what the Torah is conveying is that when one studies the Olah, it's like one's brought the Olah. That idea is cited often in our times where we don't have a Beis HaMikdash. So it's said that if one studies the laws of Korbanos, it's like one was involved in Korbanos. The Yeshomim, there are those who say Hi ha'olah shenechshav lo esek haTorah shenikres tushia shemateshes kocho shel adam kilu hikriv huas atzmo la'olah. Another idea that if a person delves in Torah, in whatever subject of Torah it might be, it's as if they've brought themselves up as an offering before God. Because we say that Torah mateshes kocho shel adam. Torah, on the one hand, brings great wisdom, but it also, if a person really throws themselves into it, it could weaken a person very much. The Altomer she'esek haTorah dome la'kravas olah derech ha'avara shari be'emes ein kan l'mokadesh v'lo mizbeach tamalomer al mokdah mizbeach. Okay, I think we've seen enough of this idea, but two ideas about the study of Torah. One is that when we study a subject, it's as if we did that mitzvah. The other is that if we really devote ourselves to the study of Torah, it's like we brought ourselves as an offering before God. Okay, let's move on to verse 9. So we're talking about the mincha offering now. And in the context of the mincha offering, it says, Vanu seres mimenu yochlu Aaron uvonav, the leftovers from the mincha should be eaten by Aaron and his sons. Matzos teochel b'makom kadosh. It should be eaten in the form of matzos in a holy place. Bachatzar o moed yochlua. In the courtyard of the tent of meeting, it should be eaten. And so thereby we have this theme. And let's just see verse 10 also. Lo se'afech chametz. It should not be baked into a form of chametz. I've given their portion from my offerings. Kodesh Kodeshim hi kachatos v'chasham. There are various laws of how the Kohanim are to partake of the remnants of the mincha offering, just like by different sin offerings. But what we're saying is that not only, as we said last week, should one not bring a rising agent on the altar when one brings a mincha, but what we're also saying is the remaining flour from a mincha is given to the Kohanim. The Kohanim may not make chametz from that flour. In other words, they can bake it as matzahs, but they may not have it as chametz. So we have this theme yet again of staying away from chametz. So we discussed this last week, but the Kli Yakar is more expansive this week, and I thought, being that we certainly have chametz on the mind, whether we are happy we have it on the mind or we're not happy we have it on the mind. Either way, we have it on the mind. So, Kli Yakar on Pasuk Tes. In mine, it's the third paragraph of the Kli Yakar. It's about 25 lines, and it's a lengthy Kli Yakar here. So he says, "V'tamar chokas hasaor," the idea of trying to keep away the rising agents, near lefarish b'shnei drachim. It would appear that it could be explained in one of two ways. Haderech ha'echad k'divrei Rebbe Alexandri. One way is like we had last week in the Kli Yakar, like the idea of Rebbe Alexandri. She'amar ritzonenu lasos ritzonecha. God, our will is to do your will. But the rising agent in the dough holds us back. And that's how I explained the earlier pasuk from last week's parsha. So therefore we say, the idea is that the rising agent represents the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. So we say, the flour from the mincha is sacred, like the sin offerings. Through slaughtering the sacrifice, a person is, in a sense, slaughtering their own evil inclination. We should partake of the mincha, of the remnants of the mincha, like we would partake of the sin offerings. That we hope that when a sin offering is eaten from, a person has become a different person. We very much hope for that. So too, the idea by a mincha is that it should be totally removed from any rising agents. Amnam shtei alechem shel atzeres ba'u dafka chametz. On the other hand, the loaves of bread brought on Shavuos specifically are bread. Ki amale Yetzer Hara lohayu tachtonim tzrichin ala Torah Yosef and al Yonim. Ki b'tanasu natzach Moshe hamalachim v'yabakum yesh Yetzer Hara b'nechem. The idea of the Yetzer Hara is very core to Shavuos, to the giving of the Torah, because the reason we've got a Torah is because we have an evil inclination. The famous issue that the angels had with Moshe receiving the Torah, that Moshe and all of humanity, and certainly the Jewish people, are so flawed, they won't keep God's commandments appropriately. So Hashem says to Moshe, okay, Moshe, respond to them. And one of the things Moshe says is, do you have a Yetzer Hara? Do you have an evil inclination? The Torah is given as a means of growth, but growth is relevant when a person has challenges. So we celebrate on Shavuos, we celebrate the fact that there's a Yetzer Hara, because that really represents the challenges of our lives. The Odshim, and that Torah gives us an approach towards those challenges. The Odshim Yetzer Hara achreichi. It's very important, it's very essential to have a Yetzer Hara in order to accomplish things in life. Okay, and the Torah helps us against going the wrong way with it. But it's interesting, because there is another offering that has chametz, and that's the Korban Todah. The Korban Todah had bread and matzah. This is a Thanksgiving offering. Matzah laos shekvar nichnab amal libo. Moshenemar etzel arba shetzrich lahodos ayachnab amal libam. Kiroshoim b'shus libam. Matzah is a symbol that we've been humbled. For Azal Darshu Pasuk Zoveach Todoy Chabdanani, Al Zoveach Yitzrom Svad Olav. That the idea is that a Thanksgiving offering is very much a response to one's evil inclination. Because when you think about it, what a Thanksgiving offering is a recognition that everything is from God. And that's one of our greatest challenges when we're tempted in the wrong direction. Okay, maybe laos chalots masots nekios minasaor. So the matzah in the Thanksgiving offering represents that we consider ourselves in many ways free of the evil inclination because we recognize God's hand. But we recognize that even as we celebrate the fact that we're free of the evil inclination, we recognize that it's still good to have an evil inclination because it pushes us, challenges us, etc. Let's skip about 10 lines now. Derech Hasheni. Now he has a second approach to why we don't want to have chametz associated with korbanos. This is the one that I think is more correct. Shamatza simon el ha'achna. Matzah is supposed to represent humility. Kisas matzah she'ena ola lamala. Matzah's pretty flat. Umatzah shel Chag Pesach yochiach. Ki simin cherus v'geula. The matzah of Pesach is a sign of freedom and redemption. V'shalosh choshak Hashem b'Yisrael kim bavur shem matim es atzmam. Kmo shalomtu min pasuk lo merubchem mikol amim choshak Hashem bachem ki atem ma'at. It's a very interesting pasuk in Sefer Tvarim. God says to the Jewish people, really Moshe speaking to the Jewish people, says, it's not because of your largeness over other nations that God chooses you, rather because you're the smallest of nations. So there's a shot in that pasuk. It's not because you act like you're bigger than other nations. It's because you act humble. That's why God likes us. So that's why he redeemed us. And the matzah is supposed to represent that. Kima Hashem sho'ol mimcha, gim liyira, shu'anava meviyah l'deyira. Chol od she'achna metzuya b'tachtonim biyoser, v'zeh biyoser tegalav tiroya malchus shamayim. The more we live with humility, the more the glory of heaven is revealed. Ki hu yisparach geyus lavesh ve'ein od milvado. We believe that there's no force in this world other than God. V'zeh tam galus b'tzrayim la'achniyam b'kur oni. That's why they were exiled in Egypt in the first place, to humble them. And so therefore the Egyptian experience has humbled them. And matzah is symbolic of that. Ulefichach dina chametz b'sreifa dafka. That's why we burn chametz for Pesach. Ki numas kilusinhu shkol hamiskoe nidon ba'esh kirisa b'medrash al pasuk zos taras hola ki hola al mokda ki arotza lalos l'mala keteva chametz ol l'mala roilios nidon ba'esh asher tivo lalos l'mala. We say that if a person wants to rise up high, be like chametz, rise up high, the logical end for them should be fire. Oh, because that's nice. Fire rises also. In other words, smoke rises. In other words, the idea is that haughtiness is very much discouraged. He says that's the symbolism, that even a small amount of chametz is prohibited to eat on Pesach. Normally, we say when it comes to issues in terms of character, we say we should try the middle path, except for haughtiness. Shamu Razal, lo mina v'lo miktsasa. The rabbis teach when it comes to haughtiness, we don't want to have any haughtiness. Very interesting pshat. So basically, the Kli Yakar is saying that whether it be that the chametz represents the Yetzer Hara, whether it be chametz represents haughtiness, either way, that's the symbolism in terms of korbanos, that generally speaking, we don't want to have chametz in the mix in korbanos. And that certainly, since the Kli Yakar is relevant for the mitzvah of Pesach. We also spoke about a Kli Yakar about this interesting language of this is the laws of the Ola, this is the Ola. Some ideas about that as well.